In this video, we're covering ACM identities. Identities can be added to ACM using the following methods. You can do a direct access to ACM using the web interface and add identities manually directly into the application. You can use LDAP collaboration, most known as Active Directory, so you can bring information from Active Directory to ACM. Mapping the fields from Active Directory to ACM, and you also can filter information from the Active Directory, so isolating a group that you want to bring it in. Same goes for SQL collaboration, always going from the third party to ACM, so SQL mapping fields as well. Oracle is another collaboration that you can utilize by mapping fields in, again, SQL or Oracle databases and moving that, syncing that with ACM. CSV collaboration, so if you have maybe a legacy application, a legacy database, and is not compatible with anything above you seen here, you could utilize also CSV collaboration to bring information from the CSV file into ACM. Another option is also REST API. This is the only option that is bi-directional, so you can bring information into ACM, but you can also send information out of ACM into a third-party application. In that case, software development is required. Avigilon does provide a full REST API documentation on that. Okay, so I'm just logged into ACM. This is the main screen. I'm going to go ahead and go here to identities. Click in identity. Can I click in identities right there? This screen comes up. So right here you can search for last name, first name. Internal number is your credential or token badge number. You can also search by groups. So right there. And any field in the system, any field under the identity, including user-defined fields. So for example, I have a field here that I've created. It is a user-defined field called license plate. And I'm going to go ahead and enter a license plate number, hit search, and this comes up. Here's the result. So just one result. Clear search right there. I can go ahead and search again. If you just hit the search button, it will bring everything that you have in your database. So be careful with that. So if you have thousands of records, obviously this option will take a little longer to load. It will load certain number of items per page, but it will take a little bit longer to load. My system has a very limited number, so it runs very quickly. One thing that you're going to notice, if I search for a field, so for example, I'm going to go ahead and look for group accounting, hit search. Notice that there is this button right here called Destroy Batch. You got to be very careful with that. If you logged in using the admin account, this account right here, the admin account, if you're using that account and you do a search using a specific search criteria, this button will display. If you click this button, all the records in the search result found here will be destroyed. So be careful with that. For all other users, you have to enable that feature. So be very careful. Now, go ahead and clear search that. You see that that button disappeared. If I just do a regular search, that button is not there. Okay? It's only when you search for a criteria. So for example, let's go ahead and search for all the identities that have a status active. So clear search, go to status, active, search. Here they come, 16, and the button is there. So be careful with that. So all right, I'm going to go ahead and get into a record. So you get in one of those records. Photo right there. So you can enter photo in ACM. At minimum, you need to enter name, first name, and last name. That's the minimum. All these other drop-down fields here are defined by the user. So you can go and change this functionality. To change that, all you have to do is go here to user lists. Also, here's the user fields. So this is to create the user-defined fields right there. Okay. What else you have here? So you have all the basic information that you can classify. The more you classify this, the better it is for you to search for a person or group of people later with the application. So I can go and search for a department, engineering, and all the people that are in the engineering department will come up. Okay. So that helps you a lot. Basic address, phone number, and email addresses right here. And if this card holder happens to be an operator, you can create a login and password in here, or you can connect and remote authenticate against a a Active Directory domain. So I have one here, so I can go ahead and click that. So you notice that when I click on that, this will change. And now I can click that, there you go. And now I have to do is just enter their login for their network. So now ACM will comply with the network login. Okay, so that when this user tries to log in, they'll most likely use their email address or whatever is their login name and password. ACM goes and checks that against the Active Directory. And if that is okay, let that operator come in. After that, here's roles. Roles is where you go in and let people have access to doors, locations, or even the software itself. So let's say that Donald here is an operator, is a security guard. I could go and give him the permissions for predefined permissions that I have here for my security guards, and this will allow him to access the software and do things to it. If I want to give people access to doors, so for example, this one here, elevator, I want to give Donald here access to the elevator 6th floor. So I just highlighted that, click the button and move it over. If you want to do multiple, just hold Control in your keyboard and go ahead and select what items you want, okay? Once you have all the items over here, go ahead and hit save, and that should do it, okay? After that, you're gonna give them a credential. So when you hit save, what you're gonna see is that the system will automatically bring you to the tokens, okay? So right there. So now I can go here and give him a token. So Donald just happens to have a token. I'm gonna go ahead and disable this. So let's say that he lost this token. I can go ahead and click in over here and inactivate that token. Okay, so now that token will no longer work in the system, and hit save. To give him a new token, here at the bottom you have add token. So click on that. And here's what you're gonna notice, depending what version of ACM you're running, and if you have Verdi integration for biometric readers, you have this option here, token type. So I can click in here and click in Verdi biometrics, and this will initiate the biometric enrollment. So if you have the fingerprint scanner, it will allow you to now go and capture the fingerprint of that person. If not, all I have to do here is just go ahead and enter a token number. So let's say I'm gonna go ahead and enter that. PIN number, if I'm using keypad readers, I could do that. And then never expire, I'm gonna go ahead and use that and just hit save. And that's it. Now he has an inactive token right there, which is great for you to track tokens. And this is an active token. The individual could have multiple tokens activated if you allow them to do. If not, and you can restrict that under system settings. There's an option in there for you to restrict the amount of credentials that someone can have. Okay. After that, groups here. So groups allow you to group people by groups. So later on, I can apply different settings in bulks into groups. So I can just either move the group right here. So click in a group and move it over. Or when I can go to the group itself and add people into that group, okay? Photos, let's leave that page. So here's the photo. I can capture the photo by uploading a photo from a file, or I can capture the photo using a webcam or a camera that is installed in here. Keep in mind that if you have your smart device or a mobile phone or a tablet and you want to capture the photo of the person out in the field, you can actually log in ACM using mobile devices and utilize the onboard camera to capture that photo. So it's pretty handy. Here's badge. So if you have the badge designer enabled in your system, you'll be able to create a badge design. This will populate the information from the badge, so you can create a badge in multiple ways, front and back. And there is multiple badges, so you can assign a badge or different types of badges for users. You can use different colors, whatever you need to do. Timed access is a very handy and limited feature. So this feature allows you to open or to give access to someone for a door for a particular time frame where is a configuration that you configure and forget. So this will allow the person, let's say, I want Donald here to have access to the lab door tomorrow between the hours of 9 and 10. So I can go here and just configure that to be 9, and then over here we'll go ahead and give them access until 10 o'clock. Once I do that, I can go ahead and enter a name for that, hit add. This will be saved over here. So let's go ahead and call this test, and I can go ahead and hit save, and you will see that this line is right here. So now this is active because I said from today until tomorrow. So he'll have 24 hours access to this door. After that, you will automatically lose access to this door. So pretty handy one-off kind of feature. I said this is limited because you have to be careful not to use this as a default way of giving people access. For that, you want to use roles and access groups. This has a limited number of timed access that you can send to the controllers. Access is after that. This will show you what is the access this individual has, this card holder. So it's pretty handy. So in one shot, you can go ahead and see that. Transactions will show you everything that's been going on with this person, or all the events that are being happening to it. So here it is. He's accessing a couple of doors, so you can see that in the transactions screen. Audit will tell you everything that's been happening with this user. So for example, right here is the administrator. I just added a row to Donald, giving him access to elevator. So it's all in here. Okay. And lastly, here is the user defined field. So you can go ahead and create, there's not really a limitation in the amount of fields that you can create in the system. And with that, you can create all sorts of different types of fields, including a pretty large text box and other fields for you to hold additional information. Keep in mind that these fields could also be populated by a collaboration with Active Directory, SQL databases, or Oracle, or even a CSV import. So you can populate information automatically from other systems. Something I need to remember, so let's say this is always a scenario that plays out. I have an identity and this person is no longer in the company, and I want to go ahead and disable that, right? So how do I do that? It's pretty simple. You just go here into, you look for the persons, and so let's go ahead and search for someone in here. So I can go and say, I want to search from everyone in the accounting department, and on that, I'm looking for Daisy Duke. So, okay, here's Daisy, and I want to disable the account. All you have to do, very easily, you just go in here and say inactivate. Just choose that option, hit save, and now all the credentials, PIN numbers, and even if this person was a operator, all those access will be automatically disabled.